Hi Dakota, how you doing? Okay, these are looking great. These are looking really good. I mean, there's not much more for me to comment on other than the illustrative technique here. And using live trace, I think it's smart. I do. I think it's smart. And plus, as we talked about earlier, there's no um, preclusions of using live trace. And some of the other assignments, it restricted the use of live trace, and that's okay to use it in here. I think it's really interesting. It creates a really neat feel, and it's an illustrative technique. Let's face it. So, fair game as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, definitely. You have to start adding type and adding text and adding security and adding all sorts of different things. I would use a border around these as well. Um, but the only thing I can comment on is that the illustrative technique is just fine. It's just fine. It's going to work. It's a great backdrop for your currency design. The one thing I would mention though is that the way that this is just the stroke on it is just huge. It's really super distracting. A lot of times designers try to put a stroke on something to try to make it look more visible, and I think that might be what you're doing here, but it tried a different approach here because the stroke here is just, it's too overwhelming. And did you know that adding a stroke to letter forms or numbers actually changes the shape of the original type design? So I highly recommend students don't add strokes to typography or to numbers, any kind of type. So that's basically my only comment there, is try to compose these in a different way. But be sure to do plenty of research, Dakota. Now, don't forget in the announcements area, I got that big long announcement with all of those examples. Hey, visual research is fine here. If you see something that you like, duplicate it. I'm not saying copy it, Dakota. I'm not saying that. I'm saying use it as your inspiration. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we do as designers all day long. That's what we do. We don't copy, but we certainly do get ideas and inspiration from other works. That's called visual research, and that's perfectly acceptable. Okay, so again, in summary, I'd say the backgrounds are beautiful. I would say go ahead and start composing these and put a little border, I would say, around them. Paper color border, whatever the paper color is, just continuing on the border. A little white border if it's white paper. It's probably it's being that it's currency, it's probably going to be like an off-white eggshell or some kind of a maybe a color like something like that right there would be more indicative of what the paper color would be like. That right there, maybe. I don't know. Think about it. But go ahead, and if you want some good examples of some layout techniques and type, and take a look at, again, here I go. Sorry, Charles, I'm using you again as an example, but this is good. This is good layout. Now, the illustrative technique that he's used is he's basically placed these images in the background. So my comment to him was to either A, use live trace or illustrate that himself. But go ahead and take a look at his currency submission, and then take a look at my video, because I think that there's a lot in common. You'll learn a lot from that video too in terms of how this is laid out. But there's some really great ideas on here, really fantastic typographic ideas and ideas for layout, as well as the security measures, etc., stamps, seals, etc., etc. Okay. All right. So good job. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Thanks.